welcome to the world of wings, worms, and wonder. I'm Kelly Johnson, your Creative Nature Connection Guide, and this is the basic brush strokes video from my Watercolor Basics for Nature Journalers video series. Brushes, as you see here, I have quite a few, can be mysterious creatures, from purchasing them to painting with them. Once you choose your brushes, it's really important to get to know them before you begin your next journal masterpiece. A new brush is like a stranger. You have to get to know it, know how it responds and reacts. So let's go through a few brushes and a few ways to better understand their potential. If you're still unsure about choosing brushes, like at the store, check out my Nature Journal Tools video on brushes, and I go all through all the different kinds of brushes and the details about them and what you use them for and all of that. So this is sort of step 2 in the brush process. Okay, 2 of the most common styles of brushes. If you're just starting out, this would really be mostly what you would need. Flat brushes, which you see here, they're flat, and round brushes, which I have here in my hand, which is round. Pretty self-explanatory there. So flat brushes are good for wide, crisp, broad strokes, squared off things like corners, like if you were doing a house or some sort of structure, and also for washes. So if I was gonna do sort of a sky wash here on this paper, put my clean water down, and then I'd get my blue paints. This brush is a little big for this palette, but you know, I can get nice broad strokes and nice, put some purple in there, maybe it's early morning, you know, a nice wash of color to blend. And I could even use a bigger brush for that, or a tinier flat. This is a size 4. You know, you could use for, maybe with brown. You know, if you were painting a little garden bed, you know, paint the boards of the bed. This is a very loose structure, but you know, you can see, you can sort of get those lines going, those flat, broad strokes. Your round brushes, you can use more for curvy or thin strokes. You know, say you were doing a flower. Oh, not enough water there. So you're doing a flower, you know, things like that, lines. But you can also get washes with those as well. So how to practice this with these different brushes? I use round. I use round for my average painting needs. Unless I'm doing a wash like this, round is kind of my go-to brush, but that's just me. So to get to know your brushes, test and compare 4 things. Water. How much water are you putting in your brush? Are you using something like this, a lot of water for a wash, or just a little water because you want details, like in the flower edge? Paint. What's your water to paint ratio? Are you getting a nice even mix of water to paint, or do you want it waterier, such as in the sky, or more saturated, such as in the flower? So think about that ratio. The angle of your brush makes a difference. Are you using a very straight up angle because you're doing some precise lines? Or are you doing just some loose strokes and you're using a more of an angle, less 90 degrees, more 45-degree angle? Or sometimes, if you're using a flat brush, you may really go, you know, deep on a deep angle. So, you know, what do you want to use it? What's your angle? And then finally, your strokes. With different parts of the brush, you can make different strokes. So let's start with the flat. We saw up here wide and flat for washes. So you're taking the wide flat side of your brush and just making a smooth, straight stroke, which is also what we did here for this little garden bed, funny garden bed. So yeah, using that for crisp squared areas and washes. Now, thin side. Taking the skinny side of your brush, flat brush, you can make a line similar that you might with a round brush. So you can make a thin line. Playing with that angle, it's a little fatter. More perpendicular is a little thinner. And then twist. This is great for leaves, flowers, curves. Starting with the thin side of your brush, and as you progress in your stroke, moving to the flat side. So starting thin and then twisting out. And it's very dynamic. So thin start and then twist. And you can feel that, like you may do something like this, you know, you can feel that. If you're doing waves in the ocean, you might do a stroke like that. It's very dynamic. So let's try the same thing with the flat brush. And when you're testing out the different angles and sides of your brushes, you need to do it with each brush. I'm not going to go through every one here, but do that with each brush that you had. So using a thinner brush, the round, going on the side, making a nice wide side stroke, versus using the tip of the brush, getting a nice clean line. Like you could go back in with the tip of your round brush and add the details here. You know, for example, if you had wood grain you wanted to add. And then trying the twist with your round brush as well. So starting more of a point and then going wide. And you can also do it like starting with a point and then as it goes broad on the leaf, you know, getting thicker, something like that. So test that out with your brushes, wide side, thin side, and twist, and get to know how they respond and test it out with more water, more paint, playing with your water to paint ratios. And that'll give you a really good feel for how your brushes respond. So, what are the variables? The type of paper you're using. Are you using cold press or hot press? What's the texture of your paper? That is a variable for sure. The variables can come in the differences of the actual bristles, as far as are they animal hair versus synthetic hair. I use all synthetic brushes, but some people prefer the real animal hair. The synthetics are just as good these days, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. The handle length. You may have noticed that some of these brushes are short and some are long. That does make a difference. What feels comfortable to you? This is a very long brush. This brush or this brush I use for things that require high details. This is very small and very long, so I can get some really precise marks here for details. And then along with the handle length, as far as what feels comfortable to you, brush style. As far as they're making brushes with like squishy hand grips here at this is called the ferrule. Hand grips on the ferrule. You know, what features do you like? I'm not a giant fan of those, but it's probably just because I didn't grow up painting with those. I mean, you just have to test them out, see what you like. And then where are you holding your brush? If you're holding low and tight, maybe you're writing some words or doing some very precise details. If you're holding further back on your brush, maybe you're just doing a quick mark. So you can think low and tight, high and loose. But your average painting will probably happen somewhere in the middle, probably right around where the ferrule meets the wooden handle. That's generally where I hold my brush for average. painting things. It's where it feels most comfortable to me. But you know, again, what feels comfortable to you? That is what's most important. You developing your personal relationship with your brushes and knowing which ones you want to use in which situations. So really, don't be shy. Get to know your brushes. They won't bite. And once you do, I'm sure that some will become close friends that you'll protect fiercely. I mean, this brush, don't even look at it because nobody's touching it but me. This is my favorite brush for these big, wide washes. So a good relationship with your brushes equals ease in painting, and with time and practice, you'll begin to automatically know which brush is just the right one for the marks that you want to make. And take care of your brushes. They're an investment and they can last a long time. If you're not sure how to take the best care of your brushes, you can check out my Nature Journaling Tools brush care video below. And you can treat your brushes like the loyal nature journaling assistants that they are. So I hope you had fun. You have fun getting to know your brushes and just experimenting and making marks and trying things out. So thanks for joining me in the Wings, Worms, and Wonder Watercolor Basics for Nature Journaling series. Subscribe below so you don't miss any of the videos in this series. You can find more nature journaling painting tutorials in my Nature Journal Tools series and in my Nature Journaling in a Canoe video below. You can get deeper instruction in my Connecting with Color or Draw Yourself Back to Nature e-courses, and I have lots more creative nature connection ideas, tips, tricks, and activities on my blog, Wings, Worms, and Wonder. So thank you for coming here. Have fun with your painting, have fun with your nature journaling, and have fun getting to know your brushes. Bye!